Welcome to the Defeat the Drama podcast, where you'll learn tips, tricks, and strategies to help you gain clarity, find purpose, live boldly, and defeat the drama in leadership and life. Host Kirsten E. Ross is known to many as the drama-free queen. She is the undisputed expert of transformation. She'll move you from resigned, resentful, and overwhelmed to focused, engaged, and empowered.
Welcome to the Defeat the Drama podcast. I'm Kirsten Ross, your host. I'm thrilled that you're here. This is episode 12, and today is Defeat Your Drama. So what we're going to do is cover, I heard from Sarah in Portland, Oregon, and I'm going to create some customized strategies for her in her drama situation at work. I want to remind everyone, if you're interested in sending in your own information, go to my website, defeatthedrama.com, click on the podcast site, and then go to the Submit Your Question tab. You can either record a message or send me a message. You can use an alias if you'd like. I understand. I get it. You might not want your real name, but please leave a name. And then I'm going to be sharing your stories and then providing customized solutions during future podcasts. So I encourage you to do that. And as always, show notes will be available with the episode. Again, episode 12, by going to defeatthedrama.com. Go to the episode. So Sarah, if you want to print out the list of strategies that I'm going to provide during this podcast, I encourage you and others who think they might benefit from using these strategies to go there and get the show notes. All right, so in these Defeat Your Drama segments, I'll provide solutions based on the information provided. I'll obviously not have full details, and my hope is that many of you will learn how to deal with your own drama situations from listening to what I shared for a specific person. So I will provide these customized strategies based on what you share, but always consider your own specific circumstances before taking any action. These are suggestions and not guarantees, but they are based on my more than 20 years of experience working inside of teams and with leaders. So let's get started. So Sarah from Oregon sent me this note. I love my job, ! I know that I'm making a difference. I have a lot of autonomy. My coworkers are great. We work well as a team. The drama happens when my boss comes to our location. He works in a different office about 150 miles away, so I don't see him that often, maybe once every couple of months. When I do, though, he blows in and is a complete tyrant. He treats me like I'm doing a terrible job and berates me in front of coworkers. It's awful. Most, if not all, the stuff he yells at me about isn't even true. He makes all of these assumptions and doesn't give me the chance to provide the truth. I feel like quitting every time he visits. I don't want to leave my job. What can I do? So, Sarah, let's defeat your drama. First, I want to say that I am just so sorry that you're having this experience. How yucky. It really breaks my heart. I'm all about working in our passion, and it really sounds like you're passionate about the work that you're doing and you love your team. And so you want to do everything in your power to stay where you are because mostly it's great. But you have this drama coming from your boss. So the first thing that I heard you say is you love your job. So we're going to see if we can make it palatable enough for you to stay with full energy and focus. As I say at the end of every podcast, don't let anyone steal your focus or zap your joy. And so that's what's happening with your boss. So let's see what's in your control that you can do. So we need to start by determining what is in your control in this situation. Where can you have a positive impact? Keep in mind, I'm not excusing your boss's behavior. So anytime I'm focusing elsewhere, I'm not saying that what he's doing is okay. I'm not saying that you should be okay with it, but I am looking, see, you can't control your boss, unfortunately. If you could, that wouldn't be, the tyrant stuff wouldn't be happening, but you can control you. So I'm going to talk about 3 specific strategies to try to help make this situation better or at least more palatable. All right. Number 1, focus on the message, not the method. So try to look beyond the way he's communicating and hear what he's saying. Is there any validity to his concerns? Sometimes when someone is speaking aggressively, we tend to focus fully on how they're communicating and miss out on any nuggets that are there. And if you're missing out on any nuggets of valid information, that might be causing him to be more aggressive. Now, again, I'm not saying it's okay that he's being aggressive. I'm not saying you're to blame for him being aggressive, but I'm looking for where you might be having an impact. So possibly there's some validity to what he's saying. So try to step back, hear the message, don't pay attention to the method. I know it's hard. So if there are some valid concerns, try to address those. So just keep in mind that sometimes the request they're asking for isn't the actual fix. So you also want to hear the message and then think about whether the fix requires doing the right things or is the fix about communicating better. Very often, drama is created and snafus happen inside of organizations because of communication. In other words, you're doing the right things, but your boss doesn't know it. There is a distinct possibility, since he spends most of his time more than 150 miles away. So maybe he's not aware of everything that you're accomplishing or the journey that you're taking to get things done. I have seen this a ton of time with my clients. You know, I'll hear from a boss, I'm coaching someone and I'll hear from their leader and they'll say, I'm really frustrated with this. I don't think they're making good decisions here. And then I'll go to the person and we'll talk about their perspective. And very often it is the boss just didn't realize because there was a lack of communication. So it wasn't a doing thing. It was a communication thing. So you're going to listen for the nuggets through the aggressiveness and then see, is there some way that you should be doing something differently, or is there something that you should be communicating differently? So if you're doing the right things, but he's not aware, then the strategy is to come up with a new communication strategy that will keep him in the loop with more detail. So if you're up to it, ask for his input. Let him know that you'd like to keep him up to date on your activities and ask what he feels is the best method. Should you guys schedule a weekly phone call? Should you send emails, use an Excel spreadsheet in an intranet or on Google Docs or something like that? So you don't really say the kind of work that you're doing. So I'm not sure how much information he would need, but that's my recommendation. So look at the words, not the way he's communicating. Try to look for those nuggets. See if there is something you could do differently, or is he just not aware? Okay, then the second strategy is make a request. So I use this term really purposefully because a request is very non-confrontational. So you're not, asserting yourself. You're not demanding anything. You're just making a request. And that's the feel that you want in this next strategy. So think about what you need from your boss, what you would like to have. And then I like to picture just like lob it out there. So making a request doesn't have a lot of emotional oomph. Just ask and don't hold tight to a specific outcome. So try not to let yourself be frustrated already as you're asking. And the goal is for your boss to feel like he has complete freedom to respond to your request or not. He actually has freedom regardless of how you ask, but if you can ask from a non-emotional place, I believe your chances of success are higher. If you ask defensively, an already aggressive person will meet you there and be defensive themselves. So they'll want to hold their position and they probably won't change, or the chance of their doing anything different are lower. And, I don't know what your general response is when your boss gets aggressive. I don't know if you're walking out of the room, yelling back, defending yourself, trying to, in the moment, fill in the blanks. You said there's a lot of assumptions. And so I don't know if you're trying to fill in the blanks with truth in the heat of the moment. But, all of those things can, again, be making possibly someone who's already aggressive react in an aggressive way more. So try to schedule a time to talk to him separate from any of the outbursts. Share that you sense his frustration with you and communicate that you want to understand what you can do to help him feel more confident in you. Share that you'd prefer feedback in private. So you mentioned that he's berating you in front of coworkers. So again, offline, I call it, not in the heat of the moment. Schedule a time to make these requests. I would really appreciate it if indicate that you're hoping that the increased updates from you will help him stay informed of your progress and achievements. And if it feels comfortable and the relationship isn't too adversarial, aside from the outbursts, share what it feels like to be on the receiving end of the frustration. Request calmly that he shares concerns in a way that helps you excel. Share with him how you love your job and you want to do well. And let him know that you're open to constructive feedback. You value his input, but there's, just request that if he could do it in a more constructive way. Now, if you're listening for the nuggets and you've determined that it's something you need to do differently and you're doing that, or you need to change your communication, and you go in and request that he give you feedback in a different way, and he just is unwilling to have any self-awareness and is thus unwilling to even consider changing his communication style, then what you're left with what's in your control is your reaction to his outbursts. Now, can you aim just a small amount or no amount of your focus there? So in the meantime, you said that it happens every couple of months or so. So luckily for you, it's not happening very often, and he's not even, in your midst. So sometimes I work with someone where it's daily. So the good news is, while it's not great, the good news is it's happening every couple of months. So is there a way for you to not worry about it in between outbursts? Focus instead on the enjoyment you get from the work that you do. I'm not saying it's easy, but choose a reaction or non-reaction. So, the reaction that we have, the emotional reaction that we have, isn't a required response. So you're not required to feel anger. You're not required to feel like that your ego's hurt, that you're, minimize the feelings about your ability to be successful. So maybe you would look at it and say his outbursts are ridiculously funny. Maybe it's the funniest thing you've ever heard of. Maybe it's sad. He's holding on to so much anger, or he has this need to tear others down to help himself feel better. You don't really know for sure why he's doing what he does, so why not tell yourself a story that doesn't include you at the center? It really may have nothing to do with you. That may sound shocking right now, but it's true. He might actually think you're great, and he might feel intimidated by your accomplishments and potential. So, outbursts don't really mean what you think they mean necessarily. So again, I'm not saying the behavior is okay, but there are ways to make the situation more palatable. So these are 3 strategies that are in your control. And any time we change in a relationship, the other person, we kind of tweak the relationship, they will transition. We don't know in what way they'll transition. So think of 2 puzzle pieces fitting together. If one puzzle piece changes a little bit, the other puzzle piece won't fit for a little bit, and then it'll have to shift to still make them fit. And so that's kind of what happens in our relationships. So the first 2 strategies I've just outlined will allow you to make an impact on the relationship, and it might end up with a positive transformation from the boss. The third one is really all about you looking at the situation different, telling yourself a different story about it so that it's not causing you, undue worry and frustration. So tell yourself a different story about it. So try these steps, see if you can find more enjoyment or perhaps make a change in you that transforms the situation. Are you able to get a place where you just ride out the storm and then go on? I'm hoping that you feel like it can't hurt to try. These strategies may help you stay happily in a job you love. So, thank you so much for listening in. Please, let's defeat the drama now. Don't let anyone steal your focus or zap your joy. If you found value today, please visit my website, defeatthedrama.com. Click on the podcast site. From there, you can subscribe on iTunes or Stitcher. You can leave me a review, which would be great. The more great reviews I have, the more opportunity for more people to find this podcast. And also share with your friends and colleagues if you think they can find value as well. And don't forget, if you'd like me to help you defeat your drama, submit your question at the site as well. Until next time.